Hey everyone, little bit of a different type of video here than what we normally do. Today we're walking through a construction detail from one of our projects that we developed specifically for a really tricky type of roof, that being a gambrel roof assembly. Now, for those who don't know what a gambrel roof is, we're talking about a roof form that was really common historically in the Northeast, and was one of the key features of the Dutch colonial style. It's also pretty common on barns or farm buildings, so you've probably seen this roof form hundreds of times without even realizing it. Now, the tricky part about a gambrel roof is figuring out how the heck you're going to insulate it, air seal it, and vent it, especially if you have intersecting gables, dormers, or other roof geometry that disrupts the roof form in a way that could block ventilation. The change in pitch from the eaves with the flared edges to the more steep roof framing, plus the second change in pitch further up on the roof near the ridge, really complicates the assembly details. Now, if you're building one of these from scratch, you have the benefit of designing this type of assembly properly from the start. But what if you're dealing with an existing gambrel roof? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about here. This is a detail that we developed for a client who has graciously allowed us to make a video about this assembly and walk through this solution more in depth. The existing home where this was originally built is located in a colder climate, that being IECC Climate Zone 5A. It was built out of a lot of real, solid wood, like true 2x studs made of old-growth hemlock and board sheathing. I believe that in some locations, there was lath and plaster that was later replaced, and not a lot of insulation to begin with. The client wanted to insulate the old home properly to improve thermal comfort and, more importantly, prevent condensation that could result in degradation of the building. Whenever you insulate an old building, you have to be very careful about changing the moisture balance. We have a dozen videos on this topic, which we will link to, but long story short, if we add insulation, we reduce the drying potential because we reduce the energy flow. Energy is required for drying. If things have been repeatedly getting wet and drying out for the last 80 years, adding insulation into the mix will reduce the heat flow and change the moisture balance and likely result in deterioration. So with that being said, we needed a way to insulate this complex gambrel roof, air seal the assembly, address some summertime and winter condensation issues, and make sure that we were properly addressing bulk water management. Water management always comes first before any of this other stuff. Due to the limitations of the roof geometry and some other intersecting roof forms, we decided it was best to treat the roof assembly as an unvented system with a vented over roof and condition the attic space. This means that the attic is completely within the interior pressure boundary and is receiving conditioned air, which means that it's operating at the same temperature and relative humidity conditions as the rest of the living space. We would address condensation control by installing exterior insulation above the roof deck and air sealing between these layers. Now, as you can probably imagine, air sealing the roof to wall transition in an old gambrel roof assembly can be tricky with that flared eave detail. Our solution was to conduct what is called a chainsaw retrofit. This allows us to cut away the cantilevered framing at the flared edges so that we have a flush roof to wall transition. This sets us up for really good air barrier continuity and is basically the same concept as monopoly framing, which is a term coined by the build show for a flush roof to wall connection. Here we have called for a self-adhered membrane to be installed over the existing sheathing to provide our primary air barrier in the roof assembly. This air barrier is critical because it stops warm, moisture-laden air from the interior from migrating through the seams of the sheathing in the rigid insulation and condensing in the upper part of the assembly. In this case, we're providing a vented roof covering for additional redundancy and for ice dam control, but still want that roof sheathing to be nice and airtight to prevent wet spots on the nail base above. We then lap that self-adhered membrane over the wall sheathing and integrate it with the weather barrier. In this case, the client had previously installed a liquid-applied membrane over the existing wall sheathing, and so we needed a way to transition the self-adhered membrane to the liquid-applied membrane. In this case, we will mechanically fasten the edge of the self-adhered membrane to the wall using roofing nails, and then coat that entire transition with a liquid-applied flashing that's compatible with both materials. Then for the exterior insulation, we actually opted for using a product from Hunter Panels called Cool Vent, which is basically just poly-iso insulation bonded to intermittent 2x blocking and a plywood nail base. The benefit of this product is that we get all of these materials that we would normally have to attach separately in a single product, reducing complexity and installation time. Now, we did opt for installing an additional layer of rigid insulation below the cool vent panels because we wanted the benefit of staggered and offset joints to reduce the potential for cold spots and energy loss at the seams. In this climate, we need at least 40% of the total R value of the assembly to be installed as outboard insulation for condensation control. 3 inches of polyiso is roughly R20 continuous above the roof deck, so we could have an additional R30 in the cavity to meet the R49 roof assembly requirements in this jurisdiction. The Hunter panels are attached to the roof deck based on the engineer's fastening schedule, but the nice part about using these panels is that you don't actually have to hit a rafter. You get enough withdrawal strength with the sheathing, and of course thicker structural sheathing is going to provide better withdrawal strength. Then we called for a self-adhered underlayment or ice and water shield product to be installed on the entire surface of the nail base for a monolithic water control layer that is bonded to the substrate, unlike a mechanically attached underlayment. Basically, this reduces the chances of water ingress if there happens to be a strong storm. We don't want water running freely between the sheathing and the underlayment, since this would turn a small localized leak into a much bigger problem. We're investing a lot of money in this roof with these panels, and we want to make sure that we are providing as much insurance as possible so that they stay dry for the lifespan of the building and for the next re-roof in 20 or 25 years. Now, how do we deal with that flared eave that's so characteristic of the Gambrel roof? We rip some blocking that's at the right roof pitch and nail it over the Hunter panels and into the adjacent blocking or nailer that we've called out here. And then we can install a subfascia and sheath over it and continue our ice and water shield down over the eaves. What would normally be a framing nightmare with that exterior insulation if you did this from scratch just got super easy. We vent the soffits and the ridge for continuous airflow between the nail base and the rigid insulation for ice dam control, and it's as simple as that. I hope this video helps some people out there with Gambrel roofs. Again, very tricky to detail correctly due to their geometry, but if you want to avoid spray foam, this is a great way to do it, and you'll have a more durable, more resilient, and moisture-safe structure that will last a lot longer than if you just spray foamed the cavity. Guys, if you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more weekly building science videos, and head over to our website at ASIRI-designs.com, where we have over 150 free building science articles that cover a wide range of topics. Links will be in the description below. For now, good luck with your projects. Cheers.